काफी लोग बोलते हैं how to evolve in life, whether change करोगे करे हो आप लोग so for example there are companies, there are many examples which are there. Companies today, if e-commerce model is going, companies still continues to be GT centric. Do you think they will do well? They won't, right? Because they'll miss out on a good share of business and potentially tomorrow, which could be a very big. So if you don't develop those competencies ahead of time, or similarly for an individual, if you don't really understand the aspect of that piece, you will miss out. So to me, that becomes extremely important. How are you able to evolve yourself? How you are able to unlearn what you have learned and be ready with the new environment. To me, that'll be other extremely important element. Thirdly, I think, I'll not bore you with a lot of things. I think few things which with my personal experience, the third thing which I find which is extremely important is, look, be the person who can be a solution provider. Okay. Rather than be when somebody will be here to talk about analytics, sharp analytics, which is showing up, this is the problem. All right, this is good. But what is the solution? Right? So can you be the person, or can that be the person who is, obviously this becomes a baseline, but the person who can actually be a solution provider is the person who will actually rise in the corporate ladder. So if you are, rather than getting, but if you are a person who looks at that but thinks of solutions and implement those solutions, I think that will be the person who really does well and who grows up the ladder. So if you ask, as a professional, sir told me today that this is the bunch of students who are just coming. I think this is your PIBM. Normally, irrespective of any specialization, we have this in-class problem solving. That means faculty rolls out the case or gives a problem to the students, and it's a collectively resolved in the class. And in fact, they are currently having their business orientation program, but in that also we are having separate sessions for problem solving and lateral thinking. That is what we are trying to nurture and develop. Very in line with what you have opined. Coming to Mishraji, you are leading the APAC region. So, what will be your perspective? A wider geographic area.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Regard to the leadership, and as per my understanding, that everyone has a leadership quality. When we started our career, from that inception to till your entire career, you are developing all the leadership qualities. I can say that when we are approaching to the corporate life, there are different departments, different professions. You have to approach and work accordingly. In the FMCG line, that when we talk about the leadership, yes, when we have to focus our target audience, target customers. So always we are keeping that customer-centric approach. That how we can ensure that our customers should be satisfied. Okay, for that we work towards all the activities are working surrounding the customers. If we can talk about in supply chain, yes, I'm heading the logistics. Yes, it is a very for any organization where we are ensuring that how we can make our internal and external customers should be satisfied. When we talk about from sourcing, manufacturing, warehousing, and the final to distribute our goods. From entire our supply chain, everywhere we are putting our process and always support to our team, because it is not really important that we are just finishing our job, but along with that, how we are making our team growth, how we are ensuring our customer satisfaction, how we are making deliverable as per our company's requirement. All are the things under the leadership roles. And every time that we always face the new challenges, always challenges with the learning, and accordingly we are ensuring that we can give our deliverables.
You have to be customer centric, because what is your company is trying to offer to the customer, you have to be on the top of it. Right? Excellent. So coming to Orko, अच्छा, by the way, who has designed the sequence of sitting? किसने किया है भाई? Two business people and three HR people. And two ISWM alumni are in between, in the center. किसने किया? That's the choice they do. Nobody has nobody has violated their sitting arrangement. The first business, then the three HR professionals, two of the ISWM alumni they are sitting together, coupling. Right. Also, on a serious note, I have seen your journey since your time with Ruchi and then to Godrej and then done grown. And basically, so if you can give your perspective growing from probably a talent acquisition into coming into the mainstream of general management and then senior leadership position. So how do you see?
So I think, see, last time I was there, and I have now more or less believed this very firmly that very, very curious. So, as Dhruv was talking about being passionate, I think one element of being passionate is also being extremely curious, right? He was talking about evolving with the times. It's again being curious. You know, what is going around in the world? What is happening? How do I understand it? Experience I have got? There's so many quotes on leadership, and quite I don't think I am qualified enough to tell what is leadership, because I don't think anybody still knows what exactly is leadership. Well, it's become very, very complex. Who their life is hell. The moment you call a guy a leader, his life becomes hell. Let me tell you this. As long as you're not, you're happy. Right? So as long as you're a manager, you're fine. The moment you become a leader, something changes. Well, what is that thing that changes? And there are so many things that we have read, quotes, quotations, this, that. One which stuck with me forever. And if you think about it, sit down and look, stare blankly at the wall and think about it, it makes sense. Managers do things right. Leaders do the right things. So I think essence of the entire thing comes from there, right? Because the level of ownership of a leader is extremely high to a decision that person is making versus a manager, right? A manager manages, there are set rules and processes, there are SOPs, broadly following all those things. But life doesn't go by SOPs. That's another quote. Life is what happens to you when you're busy planning. Got it? Life is what happens to you when you're busy planning. So similarly, in the working world also, it's not necessary everything will go according to plan. Because within different organizations, specifically in FMCG, you got to be on time with everything. If you reach a shop later, somebody else will, the shopkeeper will buy somebody else's product. If you reach earlier, you will not buy your product because you will say, I don't want to increase my inventory. You need to reach exactly at the point where the person is going to finish whatever product that you have sold in last month or last week or whatever is the repeat frequency that you're working with. Right? So, since FMCG primarily is a sales forward organization, it is sales which is going to the customer and front ending, and then there are rest of the organization which are supporting the entire thing in bits and pieces. Marketing is supporting and all of that. Within FMCG also, there are various kinds of organizations, and what works for one organization doesn't work for the other. Within one organization, something that works for one line of business, the other doesn't. So let's take some examples and let's pick your brain a bit. Let's say this is Marico, right? What's one product of Marico that you relate to? I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about Marico. Parachute, right? Huh? Live on. Okay. It will come according to the usage. So let's obviously, it's parachute, and there is a huge, there's a long story of how parachute became parachute, but the way parachute, is getting sold, the complexity of selling parachute is very different from the way they're selling, say, for example, a Sapola masala box. Right? Because might come in the grocery list of a housewife, sir, yet is not coming. So the way you sell it is different. So the leader who is managing that will operate very differently from one who is operating parachute, right? So it's a very complex thing, but if you want to break it down into simple pieces and think about who are the leaders that you can think about, right? When you hear the word leader, who comes to your mind? Doesn't matter from corporate. Who comes to your mind? So, and someone who is alive. Huh? Randeep Maheshwari. Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Ratan Tata. So these are all leaders, right? You don't call them managers, right? You call them leaders, right? So why do you say they are leaders? They give us a path and we don't know what to do ahead. They give us a purpose. Leaders because they are followers. Very simple answer. They are leaders because they are followers. He is right. What profession they are in, right? So if somebody is playing cricket, he's a very good finisher, right? So similarly, in the corporate world, there is one functional skill that you have to be the best at. You cannot be, and I won't say cannot be, anything can happen in the world, but generally, if you look at the pattern, you would not reach a leader if you're not good at something. So you have to first, in your student days, try to identify as much as possible what am I good at? What is the line that I'm going to take within your function? I think that's one. The two is finding solutions, but finding solutions which are sustainable in nature, which will sustain a test of time at least for 50 years. Because in today's world, after 50 years, we also don't know what is going to happen. Now Google has made a quantum computer, God knows what they will do with it. Right? Third, I am not saying anything myself, but I am taking the answer from what you guys are telling me. Third is having followers. When will you have followers? When you inspire someone. So you have to be inspired. So I have heard a lot of people coming and saying that, I am not very introvert or I don't want to talk, right? But when you are a leader, you have to inspire. Now, what is a form of inspiration that you will have to decide? Sometimes it's your oratory skills, sometimes it's your work. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is not somebody who will give great speeches all over the place. He's still a leader, right? So how do you inspire people, right? Something to stand by as an example. And last, what I believe is being extremely resourceful. Networking and resourceful is probably the most undervalued competency that we see. So being resourceful, being well networked, understanding what is happening, what are the best practices, how can I learn from that? I don't know if Nitin remembers or not, but he had a talk question time. And I was in Godrej then and I was trying to figure out how do I automate my billing process. And that's when I called him up and I asked him, okay, how you guys are doing it, right? And I remember he was a bit surprised why I was calling him asking this thing, right? The FMCG industry is so small. That so look, when I saw him, I did this, heard that name. So that's what I'm saying. It's a very simple example, but you cannot be. I am HR. I will not get into this, or he is supply chain. He will not get into this. You have to be resourceful. You need to understand what is the best thing happening, so that you can do it. It's not necessary you will copy paste that in your organization. It might not work. But if you don't know, you don't know what work here. So I think these are essentially my points of what I can talk about leadership with limited knowledge I have. So right, Nitin, or was dragged into Samola and parachute. So you would drag onto Chings or something? You would like to drag onto Chings next when your round comes next? Okay, fine. Fine. So coming to Devago, you have been all through working in tandem with campuses where actually the source where you source your talent and you put that in your leadership pipeline. So from regional to a central levels, how do you find this transition of a leader? Right. So taking you from Alto, and now that he has activated you to speak, I'll just try and understand first one from all.
Leadership is an intrinsic quality, you're born leader, or we can teach leadership. There are so many courses on leadership. So can you actually we can make a leader out of somebody, a follower, or it is an intrinsic component? Just a raise of hand. Raise of hand. Who all feel that it's intrinsic? You're born leader. Only around 5%, 5% of people. Rest you are all believing that you can learn leadership, right?
Or they will keep the option don't know. Don't know. Can't say.
Yes. I remain a follower. So yes, leadership can be learned. Now, point is that what do you have to learn as fellow panelists were saying, and as Otto was also saying that so there are three basic things that a leader has to do. And if you believe that you have done that somewhere or the other during your lifetime, you would know that how to build up on that. Right? So what I feel that a leader has to be a motivator. Especially in FMCG, you have to make your followers, make your team member do any number of things which initially would seem impossible. We were just talking about supply chain during COVID days, and we were clueless about how it would happen. There were no packers and pickers, there was no supplier, there was no truck drivers, there was no sales people to go there and make the sales happen and all that. But every organization tried during that period, right? So initially things would seem impossible, but there has to be a leader who has to inspire them to ensure that it happens. Then a person has to be there, then the leadership has to be having a role of communicator. You have to communicate the thought process of the senior management, the thought process of the organization, that this is what has to be done. And communication not in the form of what is being told to you from a data to a story, to an action. So that's the journey. We are talking of analytics, we're talking of data insights and all that. So the journey is like you have a raw data, then you find insights out of it. From that insight, the ground level people, you have to give them agendas. You have to give them action points. You just don't throw the data on them and they will not understand anything. They are not as privileged in education form as you guys. So in sales, in FMCG world, it is very important that you have to be a very sharp communicator. You can convert the data into actionable. And last, it is something very important is that you have to be a person who can unite. Uniting the team is very, very important. Because you cannot have a fragmented team. Somebody believes on the target and somebody believes in it. If that group of people leaves that meeting room thinking that okay, we will do it all together, then they will do it. If somebody believes that it will be done, somebody believes that it will not done, ultimately it is not that people will influence the people thinking that it will be done and it will not get that as leaders. So we be very aware and very factful and mindful of this matter that you will not all start as leaders. You will be starting as followers. So leadership will come to your life at a given point in time. And for everybody, it will not be the same time. You will pass out all during the same time. And it is not important that all of you will be leaders at the same point in time. So this aspiration management, a leader would come to you in a particular time. So be very much aware of it that you are going to become leaders. The more you cultivate that, more you understand about the leadership, cultivate the thoughts, more you learn from the leaders around, but after you pass out. Leadership will come to you in a particular time. And last note, leaders have to take decisions. It's important that as a leader, decisions. And don't be scared of decisions. It is always that we use a term like there is a thing called fail fast. To take a decision, if it's wrong, fail fast. Do not take 1 year to fail. So if you feel that it's something is happening wrong, this innovation, this decision is wrong, make sure that it is getting corrected or fail that decision and move on into something else.